Well, I got the floor. Has everyone met me before? Has any of you?
I don't know. If I
Well,
have,
then
I've seen you before.
let me tell you.
Yep. I know you.
That's what I thought.
You were
But
you were at one of the Warrior Ascent that I was at. So
exactly, that's what I thought. Well, let me just tell you a little bit about me and why I actually wrote this book. Did everybody get a copy?
No, I didn't know you
No.
wrote a book.
Okay, well, I believe I sent it out, or I'm going to send it out. I told her today to do it. I'm
Oh.
not sure now that none of you have seen it that she did it.
Outstanding.
So it's a mystery book.
Well, I can tell you about it, and then when you get it, you'll really be surprised.
There you go.
Okay.
So kind of the name of it is Stop It, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about me and why I wrote it. So I basically grew up in a small town in Iowa, and I was an athlete, and I happened to be really, really good. I don't know why I was, but it just happened to be that I was. But I felt like I had all this pressure on me to win at a really young age, and I got a sponsor, and I wrestled the Junior Olympics, and everybody in my hometown, like I felt like lived on my winning or losing in wrestling. That's all they ever talked to me about. If I would lose once in a while, nobody would talk to me. It was really weird because they didn't know what to say, I don't think. But growing up, I realized that I had all this pressure and anxiety on me all the time. I felt like who I was wasn't worth it. Like me alone, I'm not enough. And so I've got to do something, or I've got to always be pleasing everybody else and never stirring the waters, never upsetting anybody, and taking care of their feelings, and everybody's feelings in the family were my responsibility. And I was like, and I realized that, holy crap, is that a lot? I became overwhelmed. And basically, when I was about 30, I realized it and said, what am I doing to myself? I'm killing myself. I can't say no to anybody. I can't set any boundaries. I worry so much about what other people think that I don't ever express my feelings. I don't know what I want. And I had no clue what made me happy, because I spent all my energy and all my time and focus on trying to make other people happy. I didn't know. People would say, where do you want to go eat? I don't know. What do you want on your? I don't know.
That
Whatever
sounds
you
real familiar.
pick off, I'm good. I'll eat anything. I had no idea of what made me personally, truly happy. And so what I ended up doing is I decided I needed to fix it. So I kind of went on a journey, and I realized, I can't be the only one with this problem. And so I went on this journey. I was a therapist at that point, and I decided that I'm going to do these assignments and I'm going to put me through them and then see if it helps. So it ended up being about a 30-page book because it took a lot of work to overcome trying to please everybody else. And I had to really, really break it down into what's my underlying motivation? What do I get out of it? What makes me this not be enough? And it took me a lot of self-exploration. So I want to talk about that each step that I took, or not each one, because that would take all night, but some of the steps, and you can go through them in the book. But I want to talk to you folks a little bit and talk about, is this an issue for you guys? And how does it affect your life?
Go on. Somebody say something.
Okay.
I can. I'm already there, so I can address on it. So
Well, it's not as much of an issue for me as it used to be. But I had like the opposite problem that you had. You had something that you were good at. I felt like I wasn't good at anything and nobody liked anything I did. But
Oh
I
yeah,
kept trying and trying and trying to please people, and nobody was ever pleased with anything I did. And I just felt like a nobody and a nothing for a long time. It's like, especially about my weight and a lot of other things. I read all these articles. Fat women don't get jobs. They don't get hired. It doesn't matter if you have a master's degree. If you're
right,
overweight, you're not going to get a job and all this other stuff. And so I was constantly focusing on everything that was wrong with me and not knowing how to connect with anybody,
right,
because I'm so insecure about myself that re I can't listen to somebody else and see what they think about anything,
right.
you know. And I
When
had to work
you
to
say,
get over that.
yeah, Lynn, I want to ask, when you say, I am so focused on and I can't, is that where you're at currently?
Not really, but I mean, every once in a while I go back to that, but that's not my primary thing anymore. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? Um,
right.
I've come
Congratulations.
a long way with it. I'm learning to like myself and actually figure out who I am, and rather than trying to adapt to what everybody else wants me to be.
Oh, you hit the heart of
The big
my,
thing with me, because I think a lot of it's when you have PTSD, you want to feel safe, and if people aren't pleased with you, you don't feel safe. So
right.
so you try to be this chameleon, and I'm a really terrible chameleon. I
Yeah.
really wasn't good at it, but I kept spending all my time on trying to blend in. And I did a horrible job of it. And I think it's better now to just be me and just be like, well, if you don't like it, go away. You know, it's just
That is beautiful for me to hear. It
yeah.
really is. That's a lifetime of work getting there, isn't it?
Yeah, and I still have my moments, but I
Sure.
catch myself and I just say, hey, wait a minute, you're doing that thing again.
Oh, I get that. I walk back into my family's house with my mom and my dad, and I just feel like this people pleasing ickiness. It's like
Ugh.
I back into, okay, what do you need? Okay, let me go get that. I'll do that for you. I'll do this. Oh, don't worry about that. And it's like, really, Jeff? You're not like that anywhere else in your life.
Well, and my husband's the same way. He has the same problem. So it's really interesting when you get the two of us together and it's like, where do you want to eat? I don't know. Where do you want to eat? I don't know. Where do you? We're just going back and forth. It's just like we have to just decide something. One of us has to be the strong one.
Right. It's, it's you guys got to both start having an opinion.
Yeah, and so I'm working on helping him to have an opinion, and he's helping me work on having an opinion too. We're healing together.
I love that. You know what? You can download this book. It would be awesome to go through with your husband
Oh yeah, he'd probably love it.
because
We
there's
could,
a lot of really cool sections in here that really do apply to couples.
ooh, I like that.
So yeah, that could be really good. Maria, anything that you have faced as far as people pleasing?
Well, I don't think I would bother to, I say, take this class, if you will. The title just caught my attention, and I thought, this is for me.
I love it.
This is for me.
I
Because
love
I'm one
that.
of those people that I don't say no.
Right.
Somebody asked me, I got a call earlier this evening from a person, and she said, "Hey, is Fort Hood uh, near the hurricane?" I said, "I really don't know. Have you tried Googling it? To say Fort Hood." Well, anyway, I said, "I'll take care of it and I'll call you back."
Right, exactly.
And so I I looked it up. It's in Kylene, Texas, and there's a very, very slight chance that it's in a non-hurricane zone, and et cetera, et cetera. But
Right.
kind of an example, and people just come and bother me, if you will, I guess. But most time it's just not a bother to me because I'm so used to it.
Right.
And as far as family, I feel very tied down. This morning I got a call. It was about 6 o'clock from a sister, my only sister, and she's having trouble with her checkbook.
Right.
And so,
Maria, rescue.
yeah, she said, I waited till morning. I wanted to call you in the night, which a lot of times she does. And so it's just family, other individuals, name it. And I thought, I think maybe this thing is for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And how do you stop it? And I don't want to. I guess that's the deal. I don't think I particularly want to stop it because have always been into it.
No, you want to stop it. You really, truly, honestly, you'll be free when you stop it. And then you can do the things that you want to do, not you feel obligated or you can't say no. It's no, I'm going to save my time for the things that really rock my world. And you've got to prioritize those.
Well, I try that prioritizing, and I think I do a pretty good job of it. But I have this over here, this over here, this over there, this there. And how do you cut it off?
And this is the really cool part about it, you stop it. You just stop it. You are trying to please everybody else at your own expense. It's so easy to set boundaries by using the word no, by saying, and you know what, Maria, I'm saying this like I'm a professional, right? I still struggle with this. These girls know that when they come in and ask for donations to me in my office, I'm just like a wet noodle. I have a tough time still saying no, but I've realized it makes my life so much better if I set the boundaries that make me happy. It's like the old adage, when you're flying in the plane and the airplane mask comes on, what do they say? They don't say, put it on everybody else first and then you. They say, put it on you so that you then can help everybody else. So if you're not being somewhat selfish
Right.
about you, you're not going to be able to give quality Maria when you want to.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't mean you don't do
I
things.
believe that.
It's just you do it when you want to.
Right.
Like I just made pot holders this week because I love making pot holders out of this little loom, and I made
Right.
them for people and sent them to them. But it's because I felt like doing it. They didn't ask me. I just did it.
It's when we feel obligated, like
Mhm.
our worth
Mhm.
is dependent on us doing that or not. It's like, no, I give and give and I'm tired and I'm worn out and I need to set boundaries and take care of me. And then you can give, because then you're a strong you. You don't have all these things you're doing. You're giving quality attention and time to the things that are important to you.
So how do you do that? Like, you need some assertiveness skills to do that? Are those mentioned in your book about those
Um,
skills that you would need to
well,
make
that
kind of requests?
I love that you said that, but it's not necessarily assertiveness that I would say is the answer. It's honestness. I wrote a book also called Own Your Shit. And basically with that, it's, if I'm willing to be honest with you and shoot you straight about my feelings without taking care of you, knowing that I might hurt you sometimes, because we're supposed to hurt the ones we love or care about, by being honest. Because what if we have a different idea of something, or let's just say a clear-cut example. Tom comes in to me for a session and I start giving him a little back rub, and I'm thinking I'm being a super nice guy, but Tom doesn't say anything. He holds it in and he's going, this guy's a freak. Oh my God, what's he going to do next? Oh, and he doesn't say anything. I don't know that I'm being a freak and being weird, and he doesn't say anything because he doesn't want to hurt my feel bads. And so it's like, that's where the miscommunication happens. So if you own your crap, if you're honest about your feelings without being mean, without blaming the other, without accusing but saying, I'm really struggling with this. I'm overbooking myself and I got to start setting boundaries. So if you are expressing yourself and expressing your feelings, it's not necessarily assertiveness that I would say that I would want to teach. It's more, I want to be me. I want a voice. My feelings are important. What I want counts.
Yeah.
And that's what most pleasers don't do, is they don't express what's going on inside and what they want. And that keeps them at a safe distance, not disappointing other people, not letting them down. Right, Tom?
Yeah, you said this book had some stuff in it for married couples?
A lot been used with married couples, yeah. And I would,
Okay.
if both pleasers, it's great stuff to talk about.
Good. Well, I too often have been too much of a people pleaser, and it wears me down. I have my own life. I have my own life too, and I have, and I need to learn to work on my boundaries, setting boundaries rather. And that's what I'm working on now, is basically learning how to set some boundaries.
Congratulations.
Otherwise you just get wore down. So
Yeah, you do. It's just overwhelming. You can't please everyone. Have you guys ever heard the rule of 100? Probably not. I made it up, but
I remember you
go
told us.
you go into a room of 100 people, and 25% of them aren't going to like you. Just for some reason, they think you're ugly, they don't like your hair, they're jealous, whatever. They're not going to like you. 25% are so narcissistic that they're not even going to know you're there. It's all about them. 25% might like you, but there's strings attached. There's always those, oh, I got to call them, I got to do this. And then 25% are going to love you unconditionally. But we want the bottom 75 to love us too. And it's like, why? They are taking the time away from this top 25% that really are cool people, and I want to give my best to them. So when we spread ourselves thin, we give ourselves and do all that, it's like we're giving away us, the best version of us.
Well, and it seems like too, I was usually it's like if somebody thought I was okay, then I would rather be around the people that were challenged to please, and try to work to please them and prove that I was okay, which is really dumb. So, but if somebody just likes you right away, I'd be suspicious of that. So
You've never had that, but you have.
yeah. So now the people that like me right away, I'm not as suspicious, and I'm just like, okay.
They might be cool.
This might be better than trying to please these other people that are just crabby anyway.
Exactly. Exactly. Who do we got here? I got somebody down on the bottom that I can't see. Yes, I see you.
Hi, Joe.
How are you doing?
I'm okay. I'm tired.
Is that good or bad?
Well, they changed some of my meds, so I kind of been dragging all day.
All right.
Like working the night shift, huh?
We're going to wake you up here.
All right.
Talk to me about, are you a pleaser? People pleaser?
Depends on who it is.
Tell me about that.
I like to please my wife, my kids.
At your own expense?
Usually.
Does that make for a happy you?
No, not always.
I know it usually doesn't, does it?
I mean, it could, but most of the time, no.
And you know what they want is they really want the best version of you. So it's like you're kicking yourself in the butt by trying to please them and not putting you first and taking care of you, because they're not getting the good, happy version of you when it feels like an obligation. Oh, I got to please them, or they come first, or whatever. It's like, no, your happiness is first.
What the hell?
Is that
Good point. It makes sense.
cool? Hey, I want to run through the book a little bit, and then I want you to ask questions as we go, and I'm just going to talk about different assignments so that you kind of know what to expect. And one of the assignments that, if I would have been prompt and got these all out to you, is the assessment. And it's are you living for you assessment. And it just goes through, and I can ask some of the questions here to get you thinking.
Oh, I love those kind of quizzes.
Right, exactly. It's just one of those.
Personality quizzes. Oh yeah.
So it's, I want everyone to like me. I feel that conflict is a bad thing. I don't know what really makes me happy. I often worry about what others think of me. I often put the needs of others before my needs. If I put my needs before others, I feel that I am being selfish. I find myself saying yes to requests when I really want to say no. I usually feel that if someone tells me about my I usually feel that if I tell someone about my problems, I am being selfish. People won't like me as much if I say no to them. I have a difficult time making decisions, sticking to commitments. I avoid angry conversations or difficult conversations. I don't express my feelings to people that are important to me. So a lot of those kinds of questions, and you know why I can write those questions so well is because that was me. And I just went back through and said, what did you do that you didn't like? And it was these things that were keeping me stuck. So I kind of based the book off that assessment. And one of the first things that, there's a couple things that I want to preface with. And one is, if you keep a people pleaser journal, or because you don't even recognize how often you're doing it. And so what I found out was, if you've got a partner, you can do this together and it really works good. My partner would say yellow light, which meant you're doing it again, but it wasn't like a giveaway and I didn't get mad. And so it was like, oh God, I'm doing it again. Oh God, I'm doing it again. So, but becoming aware of it is the number one thing when you're doing it, because then you can change it. If it's just a behavior that you're so used to pleasing everybody else and saying yes and doing what they expect, and then it's not even in your awareness, it's just what you do. So the first thing that I have people do is journal about it. Every night, go through your awareness or your people pleaser journal somewhat and just see, did I say yes to any commitments during the day that I wish I would have said no to? And ask yourself some of those basic questions, and they're in the book. One of the other things that I want to say that I've come across is people pleasers are some of the hugest addicts I've ever seen, usually with addict type behaviors. And what I'm saying about that is, Tom, you described exactly the feeling that I had and I wanted to escape of. I was just overwhelmed with so much, trying to please here, do this, please everybody, please them at work, please them at home, please them here. And I became an alcoholic basically. And what I've realized is, once again, I'm not alone. People that are pleasers are always stressed out. They're always full of anxiety of, I'm going to hurt somebody. I'm going to let them down. Oh, I don't want to confront them about that. I don't want to. And they are just worn out. And what do people that are overwhelmed and stressed want to do? They want to eat. They want to drink. They want to smoke. They want to do avoidant behaviors so that it gives them a break. It gives them a little bit of escape. Some people find healthier addictions, but basically what I found is most people pleasers are looking for some relief. And they don't know how to set those boundaries, and they don't know how to say no, and they don't know how to put themselves first and be. So it's like, I just got to find a way to feel good because I'm letting so many people down by not being perfect for them. So one of the first things to address is you got to stop running from it. You got to address the people pleaser issue, which in turn will help you deal with the addictions. You won't want to escape. If you keep trying to please everybody and letting people down, you're going to want to escape. It's just the way it works. So, and like I said, some people find healthier escapes, exercise, or things like that, but people pleasers don't have the ability to just, usually. And that's something huge to work on. And that's part of the book is you got to learn to relax. You've got to learn to exercise and put these tools in place that are natural relaxers. It will help you so much deal with the people pleasing process if you can not be wanting to escape, not be worried about conflict. It's like you're going to hurt people. But if you're worried about that all the time, you're going to want to escape. The next thing,
This work with your spouse?
what?
Will this work with your spouse?
Which part? What do you? What?
Well, I mean, the saying no. I mean, setting your boundaries and stuff. Work with the spouse.
It's the only way a healthy relationship works. You two have to have boundaries. You've got separate worlds and separate lives, and you've got to be able to say no to them and not worry about the repercussions of that, and vice versa. Setting boundaries is the best thing ever for a relationship. I will tell you 50 to 60% of the relationships that I see are codependent. And if they would just set healthy boundaries and say, hey, this is my world. I still want some of my world, and you still have some of your world, and let's come together and have a great world. But as long as it's not my happiness depends on you, or if you're upset, then I'm kind of upset, and I've got to always take care of your feelings, and that's where this all plays in. And people pleasers, what really happens with couples and people pleasing is one of them doesn't want to upset the other one, so they don't say what they're truly feeling, so they hold it in. I've got the perfect example.
I'm the perfect example.
Okay,
So,
let's
you're right.
let's compare, Tom. We've got a really good example here. My wife and I ran our business together, and she was in charge of the finances and I was in charge of the psychological program, all that kind of stuff. So, and you guys don't know my wife, so I can say this out loud. She was afraid of my responses, and she didn't want to hurt me and upset me and tell me that she didn't pay taxes for 2 years in a row.
Oh,
It was about $30,000.
Ouch.
So she told me, and it was just like, and she was always so afraid to upset me. And I really am not a blow up guy. I don't blow up. I don't get mad. I don't know why she's so afraid to, but what it was she didn't want to hurt me. And that's what happens with people pleasers is they don't shoot straight. They don't own their shit because they are afraid that they're going to hurt the other person.
Good point.
I got to tell you this example because it's really funny. When my husband and I were first together, he decided he knew I liked camping and he wanted to take me on a special camping trip to celebrate my birthday in June. So we go out to this campsite, and it's supposed to have, swimming and everything, but the swimming is shut down because there's some problems and things like that. And it was like super duper hot out. We had no shade and everything was really horrible. And he wanted to go home, but he didn't tell me because he was afraid to hurt me because it was my birthday present. And I was afraid to say something because I didn't want to hurt him because he went to all this trouble. And so
Hmm.
we finally reached the point where he was almost on the verge of heat stroke. And I was like, we have to get out of here. And we packed up all the stuff and got him a whole bunch of Gatorade and managed
Oh,
to get home. And then we had to talk about it. And that was how we kind of figured out that we were both too much into people pleasing.
right. Wow. Get that. That's a great example.
And now we just laugh about it. It's just funny, but you know,
That's great. I love that. Well, I want to hit on this one of the first things that I have people do in the book, and this is, I already mentioned it, but people pleasers tend to just truly, honestly don't know what makes them happy. And this is the part of the journey in the book where we look at what's your purpose? What's your vision for the different areas of your life? What do you really want? Instead of what do I need to do? What should I do? What ought I do? It's like we want to turn this around into figuring out what's your purpose, what's your passion, what excites you. Part of it might be people pleasing. Don't take taking others, if that's important to you, out. Just do it because you want to and you know the reason, not that you feel obligated. So it's like the first thing is what really makes me happy, and that's one of the toughest ones for people to think about. But then what am I getting now and what do I want is the next one. What I like and what I'm good at. I want you to look at the difference between those, because a lot of people say, well, I'm good at this. Well, do you like it? It's like, let's look at that, because I'm great at a lot of things, but really I don't like to do them. But I really suck at some things like golf, but I love to do it. So it's like, let's separate that and figure out what do we really want? What's important to us? And then there's a section on people that I admire. And something I want you guys to think about just briefly here is when I say think of somebody that you admire and then think of 5 characteristics about them. What that usually leads you to is what's important to you in your life. But if I say, what's your purpose? People really struggle with that. But if I get them to identify characteristics about people that they admire or like, then I can take those and put them into a plan, because usually the person wants more of that in their life. It's like, wow, I want to be powerful. I want to be compassionate. I want to be, and it's like, when you're admiring those characteristics in somebody else, it's just like saying, that's what I want. That's important to me. So I got the people I admire section, and the really big things next that I go over are your values. What do you value? What's important to you? And I have you rank your values 1 to 3, like as important or not. And then I want you break them down and you break them down and you break them down. And what we're trying to do, what we're putting together in the book is your purpose statement. Because identifying your purpose statement is, why am I here? It's not what do I do? Not what am I doing? It's why am I here? And that's something I want you to really break down. And that's what you do in the book. And once you have your purpose, then you can create a vision. Then you can create goals. And you can create all these things underneath it. But if you're not living a purposeful life, if you're not living with passion and doing the things that are important to you and driving your own boat and not letting everybody else drive your boat, then you are going to be truly happy when you get there. If you're driving your own boat, it's like, it sucks when you're a people pleaser and you're trying to do everything. It's like you're trying to get to where you want to be, but there's all these people that you got to please and want to pull the wheel. And it's like, no, what do you want? What's important to you? And then a lot of the rest of the book is like, don't steal from your own bucket. And this is just lessons that you guys know. But what I have people do is, if you have a bucket here and you write the things that you want. Like I want 10 hours of family time this week, and I want 5 hours of exercise time, and I want 3 hours of this and if you put all these things that you want into this bucket, and then every time you say yes to something or commit to something or do something that you really didn't want to do, you got to go to that bucket and take out one of the activities that you'd really wanted to do and not do that. It really makes a clear message on when you say yes to all these other things, you're giving up what's important to you. So then I got other exercise, examine your motivations. Here's one that I want you to think about that I'll touch on briefly, and it's sometimes people freak. When I have people go through this and start setting boundaries and putting themselves first, the people in their lives don't know how to expect it and understand it, because what they're going to express their feelings, they're going to stand up for themselves. They're going to say no to me. Really?
Yeah, I can hear it coming.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Fire
so
downrange.
things that you can do, but you know, at some point, and I don't want to say this about you, Tom, but there's a point, and I say it's called getting rid of dead weight. And I'm not, my wife is dead weight, but I am saying that people in your life that are just basically using you to do things and to, because they know you can't say no, and people here and there, it's like maybe you just need to cut them out a little bit, because they are sucking all your energy and all your good. And it's like, really, I want this top group of people that I give my love to and my everything to and my energy to. People that are sucking energy and taking away from my journey aren't really good. So there is a part about getting dead weight, but that's not where we're at here. What you're going to be doing is you're going to have to educate them along the journey.
Yeah.
Let them know what you're doing. This is for me. It's important to me to be able to do this. It's not about you. I have to do this for me.
Good point. Thank you.
And then we go on to saying no. No is not a 4-letter word. I talk about all the reasons why no is so valuable. And the sad part is I don't think it's valuable for kids, but that's another story. I think kids here know over 50,000 times by the time they're 5 years old. And I'm like, wait, that's not good. I don't want to be part of that. But no is empowering.
No.
It gives you a choice. Right now, we people pleasers don't feel like we have a choice. When somebody asks something from us or expects something, or we just say yes because that's what's expected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And no gives us power. And it feels great. I got to tell you, the first time those little girls came in and wanted me to donate to their band camp, and I said no, I felt so good. I got up and down on my desk. I started cheering, and my wife's like, "What are you doing?" They didn't suck me in this time.
Well, I put a no soliciting sign on my front door, and that felt really good.
Right.
So now I don't even have to listen to their pitches. It's like I just point at the sign. I'm like, you want to know what that means? Look it up.
I love that. Okay, straight shooting. I've already talked about this a little bit, but it's basically owning your shit. And it's being honest with people and not caring, but not worrying about if you're going to hurt them or not. They're adults. They can take it. They want to be shot straight. You know, so many times we try to take care of the other person's feelings and we can't do that. The more you can own your shit, the happier you're going to be in any relationship.
It's good. Good.
Mhm.
And then I go over, here's a big one to think about. And how it ties in is, are you a victim or are you a victor?
Mm.
And I will tell you, most people pleasers are victims.
Mhm.
And the reason for that is they let everyone else affect their happiness. It's like they are not in control of whether they're happy or not. It's all dependent on what you did for them or what they said to you or what they're thinking about you or what you think they're thinking about you, or all that kind of stuff is affecting your happiness. That's victim thinking. Other people are responsible for whether you're happy or not. The only way to truly become a victor, and it's what I tell my athletes when I'm working with them, is you've got to become your biggest fan instead of your biggest critic. We beat the crap out of ourselves. And it's like so many of us aren't our biggest fan. We don't cheer for us. We don't get excited when we have our wins. We don't feel good about our accomplishments because, oh, but that person was hurt or they weren't on. It's like, no, this has got to be, I'm my biggest fan. And that may sound really selfish, but guess what that does to other people? They get this version of Jeff that is rock starish. He's happy. He knows what he wants. He's going for what he wants. He doesn't let everybody else affect his happiness. He is in control. And it's like people want to be around that. People on a mission. It's like we like to be around people that are happy. Well, how are you happy? You got to take care of you first. All right. And then there's a lot more in there, but I'm going to finish up with some quotes that I have got from some of the famous people around the world, which I would say I'm not one of them, but I got a quote in here because it's my book. All right. I don't know the key to success, but the key to failure is trying to please everybody else. Bill Cosby. If everyone likes you, you probably don't. I don't know who that one was by, but I really like that. The person who seeks all their applause from outside has their happiness in others' keeping. Claudius. People who want the most approval get the least approval, who need approval the least to get the most. Wayne Dyer. That was a weird one.
I like Wayne Dyer.
I do too, though. I love him to death. And there's some by Aesop. Please all and you will please none. Speak your mind and enjoy the results. I will always be number one to myself. Here's so this is Jeff Meyer right here. To be strong enough to help someone, you must be strong enough to help yourself first. And so I kind of wanted to leave you with that and with answering any questions that you have. But what I want to say is this isn't a overnight fix type thing, because you spent a lifetime of building this. And I don't know where it came from. And if we did therapy, it might be something like it started when you were a young kid and you felt you were never good enough as an adult or growing up to please your parents. And so I don't know where it started, but I do know there's things that you can do about it. It's like taking your life back, figuring out what's important to me. And when you start doing that, it just starts changing.
That's good.
So I'll open the floor. Any questions?
No, it sounds good. Are we going to get, Christy's going to send out hard copies of that to us in the mail?
Actually, I'm sending out a downloadable.
Download it. How many pages is it?
It's quite a few.
You said 30 earlier, but that looks a little bit more than 30.
Like 30.
Okay,
30 divided maybe.
Yeah, I just wanted to print it off because I wanted to read it. I mean, so I can read it and
Me
go
too.
back and underline it and stuff like that. So
For sure. It's
Yeah, I
one of
like to
those that
write
you're supposed to.
I'll just, well, that'll give me a chance to practice my assertiveness. I'll just tell my wife I'm going to print this. Yeah. So
I think you should print 2 of them. Be bold, Tom.
maybe
I don't like to read. Can you read
buy
it
our
to
ink
me?
cartridge, buy our ink cartridge too. So
There you go.
There you go.
Hey, Jeff,
But
I'm
you
gonna
don't
print
need,
one for my sister.
if it's
I don't like
important,
to read. Can you read it to me?
if it's important to you, Tom, you don't need to please her.
yes, that's true.
You
Good
do
point.
struggle with this, don't you?
So what?
You do struggle with this issue, don't you?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Terribly. So
You're going to love the book.
good.
Any other questions?
I just want to know if you'll read it to me because I don't like to read.
But do it on tape. That's actually a great idea. Record it and then
Yeah, Audible books. That's what I like.
Podcast.
that makes it sound easy. I should do that.
Yeah.
I'm not a very good speaker.
It
Oh,
sounds
you're
like
doing okay.
you did okay.
Well, folks, thank you so much for attending. I really appreciate this, and I hope you get use out of the book. And if you want to reach out, if you have questions, my email is jeff@triumphprogram.com.
Write that down.
I don't have anything to write on. Can you send that out to us, Jeff?
Yeah, I'm going to send, I promise. It was on the agenda for today, and I thought it was done, but nobody got it yet, so
All right.
wasn't
Yeah,
my
they weren't people pleasing you.
right. They're doing their own thing. Get fired tomorrow.
Yeah, when
Okay.
there's a boss, it's the people pleasing thing has a different kind of focus to it.
It's
Just
about
in your relationships, unfortunately.
I remember some of this you rolled into the Warrior Ascent class that we were in. I think that's a good thing to keep putting in those classes.
Thank you for that feedback.
You end up with a lot of people pleasing. I mean, you've got a whole tyranny of rank above you in the military. Everybody's got somebody above them in the food chain. So, and same thing with the first responders too. So there's always a food chain, and you're never on top of it. So.
Well, I really have seen that myself. That's why I've started bringing it up. After the first year of being with Warriors Ascent, then we added this piece because I just was like, wow, this is consistent. This isn't just a one-off or a few people. This is just about 90% of the people that go to Warriors Ascent have.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Thank you. Thank you. Whoop, somebody just fell over.
Folks, you have a great evening.
Thank you.
Jeff.
Thanks for doing
Thanks,
this, Jeff.
everybody.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and
You-
I hope Aaron calls me about the class because I am interested if you're going to wear a man.
Perfect. I will pass it on.
Thanks.
Thank you, Christy.
You're welcome. Have a great evening, everybody.
All right. Bye.
Bye.